In 1993, at the World Championships in Stuttgart, the Chinese women's track team suddenly shattered 5 long-distance world records, setting times that left the international sporting community baffled. Facing intense doping accusations, their coach, Ma Junren, offered a highly unusual explanation. He credited their superhuman endurance to a strict training regimen and a daily tonic made of turtle blood and a rare wild fungus called Cordyceps Sinensis. The folklore surrounding this fungus actually goes back roughly 1,500 years. High in the Himalayan mountains, Tibetan yak herders noticed that when their grazing animals consumed a specific type of grass-like sprout, the herds displayed immediate, unprecedented spikes in vitality and playfulness. Those observations slowly traveled down from the mountains and into the royal courts, elevating the fungus to a highly prized medicine. Often referred to as the Himalayan Viagra, it was an endurance remedy reserved strictly for Chinese emperors and their inner circles. The sudden, shocking success of the track team in Stuttgart pulled this ancient folklore onto the global stage. It triggered a massive commercial rush for a biological performance enhancer that happens to be nearly impossible to mass produce. The first limitation is pure geography. Cordyceps Sinensis only survives in a highly specific, extreme environment: the freezing, oxygen-deprived air of the Himalayan plateau at altitudes well over 3,600 meters. The second limitation is its macabre life cycle. To grow, the fungus must infect a subterranean ghost moth caterpillar, slowly consume the host from the inside, mummify it, and then sprout a single stalk straight out of the insect's head. Because it requires this exact insect host and these specific environmental conditions, wild yields are severely limited and shrinking. Today, a single kilogram of these dried, mummified caterpillars can command up to $110,000 on the open market. The biology that makes the fungus so potent also traps it. It is a highly effective energy enhancer, completely limited by its own parasitic, unscalable evolutionary path. To bypass the ghost moth caterpillar entirely, researchers turned to a closely related species called Cordyceps Militaris. Unlike the wild variety, this version can be cultivated in controlled laboratories on sterile grains, requiring 0 insect hosts. Taking the insect out of the equation drastically lowered the cost, but the lab environment also produced a biological upgrade. Cultivated Militaris yields up to 90 times more of the fungus's primary active compound, cordycepin. Every human movement relies on ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, for energy. Cordycepin is structurally so similar to the adenosine molecule that your body's enzymes simply cannot distinguish between the two. This allows the fungal compound to slide directly into your cellular energy pathways. Locking into these receptors triggers a biological cascade. The cell begins building new mitochondria, the actual power plants of your cells, massively increasing how efficiently your body utilizes oxygen. By isolating and concentrating this compound, science found a way to bypass the Himalayan myth entirely. They engineered a targeted cellular hack that directly upgrades the human respiratory engine. To test the limits of this respiratory engine, researchers usually look at elite endurance athletes, whose bodies are subjected to extreme sustained oxygen demand over long periods. But we can see the exact physiological strain in another group entirely. This chart compares metabolic oxygen consumption of able-bodied walking to an amputee walking with a prosthetic. Compensating for a missing limb requires up to 280% more oxygen. Clinical trials show Cordyceps addresses this strain, increasing VO2 max and forcing a downward curve in lactic acid. Whether you are running a marathon or simply trying to walk across a room without exhaustion, the mechanism is identical. The extract allows the human body to generate significantly more metabolic output from the exact same intake of oxygen. As demand has surged, the commercial supplement market has flooded with cheap shortcuts. Many products sold today are labeled myceliated grain, which means manufacturers are simply grinding up the root systems and the starch they grow on, delivering a product with almost 0 active cordycepin. For the cellular mechanism to actually work, the supplement must be extracted from the concentrated fruiting body, the actual mushroom part, of Cordyceps militaris. We have moved from a rare, unscalable mountain legend to a quantifiable tool for modern human endurance. But that physiological benefit relies entirely on the purity of the source code. That strict requirement for purity is why serious formulators turn to K2 Ventures International. They are the definitive supplier of standardized, batch-consistent Cordyceps Militaris extract. They provide custom formulations specifically designed for sports nutrition and wellness products, scaling all the way up to export-ready bulk supply for global brands. Cordyceps Sinensis created the initial legend through its history and scarcity. But controlled, optimized Cordyceps Militaris is what actually makes the biological benefits accessible to human biology. If you are building a serious performance nutrition product, you cannot rely on starchy roots or ancient folklore. You have to include the verified active ingredient.